Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to a new TEW2020 video. As I said, we're going to have some Christmas specials. I felt like that's really going to be rounding up what's going on my offline save. Ironically, as I say, we get to this stage, it's such probably the least I've played in a wee while. Had a wee bit of an addictive football manager save. But we're in a position where I'm going to do, for this video, the roundup of the roster and our current champions. You'll likely see in midweek Blood and Guts, because I'll literally have Rampage tonight, then Blood and Guts, so it's pretty much conveniently timed. And then next week's special will just basically go over the history of the shows I've booked and the steps I've taken to make AEW the massive empire it is, how it was easy to make money, and I'm sure most of these know of it anyway, but it's an offline save, so we are basically going to have a lot of fun, and realism, for the most part, has went out the window. So as you can see here, we have 178 roster members, 7 that are temporarily away, and we have, of course, lots of developmental as well. So, yeah, quite a lot. On the medical side, people that we are going to be missing. Alex Zane has got a broken neck for the next 11 months. Ashley Sabera's got a torn Achilles. Flamita's got a severe concussion. Josh Alexander has a torn rotator cuff. Concussion is also the issue for Carol Anderson. It's a torn quad for Kimberly, and Ray Phoenix, when wrestling for AAA, has a badly herniated spinal disc. So even more frustrating when the bad injury to one of your best workers doesn't happen on one of your shows. So big roster. Let's start off. So we start off, first of all, with actually our world champion. It is still with the Hangman. Still babyface, been really well. Is in a big program which will see him battle MJF in a few days' time. We're going to have 10. 10's just come back up from developmental, so he's going to be working a program with obviously the Dark Order. A bit of an interesting dynamic between him, Alan Angels, and Wyndham, the leader of the Dark Order. You also see it'll give you a better idea of their popularity and where they are on the roster. Abaddon is just there, it's not really done much. We have Ace. Now you're wondering why the hell are called Edge Ace? Well, I try and keep it where I don't have them with their WWE names, and Ace stands for Adam Copeland Edge. That's the best I could think of. So my reason for bringing Edge in, as you can see, is one half of the World Tag Team Champions. I felt like with the psychology obviously helps, so it can help develop the wrestlers he's against, but your microphone skills, charisma, all these kind of things can hopefully help the angles that he's in with other tag team wrestlers and can hopefully elevate them. So we've started off a feud of Edge and Christian Cage against FTR, and as I say, just the teams that they've got in that tag division can really help their development. So that's quite a reason why I've brought a lot of older guys in, is more so as player coaches. At Yu Sakawa is probably going to leave. I think her contract's up. I brought her in for the own show, but we've never really used her. Adam Cole, a babyface. He was basically having a bit of tension with Cody over the Owen, where both of them went 9 wins from 9 and battled in the final, which saw Adam Cole turn babyface. Also, as you can see in the bottom right hand corner, the cheating breakup there, as Britt Baker has now went with Sammy Guevara. So that feud, because it was in the midst of the one with Cody Rhodes, has been held off, but they're going to probably battle into Double or Nothing. If not into Double or Nothing, then into All Out. AJ has just recently joined, but he's here. We've got Akam. Not Akam as it was in WWE, I've changed the spelling. But he is in a faction that you'll know familiar as Akam, Razar, Buddy Matthews, and Tyler Black, touching on which WWE really didn't. Alan Angels just up from developmental. Alex Abrahantes, just there. Alex Reynolds, former tag team champion, is still babyface as a Dark Order lackey, but doing decent stuff with John Silver. Alex Zane came in, went to developmental, was over enough to get promoted. He's really just jobbed out a few times, but had a nice Zane off with Sami Zayn. Emil, brought her in. She was part of a faction alongside many, with my intent being to get a non-worker over, but it never really worked out. we'll touch on that when we get to that particular worker. In fact, I think I've let him go, so let me just check. Yeah, they're definitely not there. That's everybody on the roster, because that's it reset. So I must have let them go. So I'll just confirm then. So I thought I still had them on the roster. It was Brian Alvarez. So the faction was Brian Alvarez leading the way. He had a male in his faction and a lot of just really good wrestlers. We'll touch on that once we get to one of those wrestlers, which isn't actually too far down. But yeah, I thought I still had Brian Alvarez. I was trying to see how over I could get him. Former TNT champion Andrade Alito, still managed by Chavo in this. It works well. He's been up there. He's always been a key part of the company. If we just go to match history, you'll see here he's had some good matches there. Shawn Michaels and Bryan Danielson, there's Andrade and Kenny. You see the 8 there. And obviously still doing good work with Triple A. And Helico still kicking about, just kind of in the lower card of the field, which is a shame, but not really found anything for him. Anna Jay was doing nothing for a long time, hence her chilly momentum, but she is attending the Nightmare Factory to try and get some attributes up. Our psychology took a boost because with QT Marshall being here, obviously the mentorship has worked well, so expect somebody like her to have great psychology down the line, same as Jade Cargill for that kind of thing. So there's a lot where I'd normally send them to developmental, but I feel like the mentorship's better for them in the main roster. And she's Women's World Tag Team Champion following the return of Tay Conti from her pregnancy. So Teiji are tag champs. Nakajima is just here. I don't think she's debuted yet, but if we get her over, she's got a lot of good technical attributes that we need. Arn Anderson we know about. Ashley Sabara was brought in because, I don't know if anyone remembers TEW2020 in developmental, she was basically, her stats skyrocketed and she turned into an amazing worker. Unfortunately here we don't have the benefit of her developing well, but it gave me a challenge. Can I make someone with pretty poor stats be incredible? We started to push her, she had like 3 matches, 3 wins, and then that torn Achilles took her out for a long period of time. She has an unfortunate stripper gimmick, but she's one of the women that just is in love with the ladies man Garza Jr. So I'm going to see how far I can get her over without actually wrestling. That seems to be the plan. As she follows Garza Jr. alongside Charlie and Candy Rose. We'll get to that when we get to Candy Rose. Ashley Vox is in as part of Sea Stars, to give me more depth in the women's division. Athena's done a few wins here or there, but not really done too much. Aubrey's refereeing. BB Ford, Bianca Belair Ford, was the best name I could come up with, but she's had a few victories here. She's certainly got the overness to carry the women's division, which is pretty much what this woman has done. Becky Quinn. I know you're thinking, how the hell is she only that over? She put over Chris Statlander, she put over Jamie Hayter, she put over Britt Baker. So she's in turn lost a lot of popularity, but she has been absolutely mega for the evolvement of our women's division. Big Swole's done practically nothing so far. Billy Gunn just kind of does coaching. Same with Whitmer. Bobby Fish is annoyed because we obviously just signed him and he was heel, and then obviously sort of AEW wanted to get the gang back together, so he's just turned babyface again, despite having an old school heel gimmick, so I need to change that. That was my maybe just desperate to get the program together for Blood and Guts, but Fish is 43 anyway, so he knows his role. Brandy Lorne is in as the manager of Richard Holiday. Brandy Rhodes is kicking about, but she's retired, so whenever her contract may expire, we'll let her go, but I feel she's in a long-term one. 2 years and 4 months to go. Brian Kendrick is in as a road agent only. Brian Pillman Jr. in the lower card at the moment, although Griff Garrison wants to come up from developmental, so the Varsity Blondes will be back in action. Same kind of ideas we had before with the try to get people over with poor starts, but we'll try and see what we can do with Brianna Brandy. I don't know if that's the name I'm going to go with, the former BFAB, but decent overness, and we'll see what she can do. I wanted more depth in the women's division to properly rival the men's. The Doctor, fairly over, former champion, and obviously a lot of people hate her because of the stuff with her and Sammy Guevara. Brittany Blake, good person that puts people over. Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, free agent. I thought, why not, we'll just sign Brock. He's had the odd match here so far. He's faced Joe Janela where he destroyed him, faced Masato Yoshino And at Beach Break he put over Jeff Cobb as someone we're really trying to push. You can see there Darby Allin beat him. He's with matches with Sammy Guevara, Kyle O'Reilly, Hangman, Kazarian, Luchasaurus when he first debuted and just destroyed most of the Jurassic Express. So the program was, as you'll see here, he was teaming up with Claudio and Daniel Garcia. So the faction I had was basically Brian Alvarez had a male, but then he had lots of just proper technical wrestlers and Brock Lesnar, Claudio, he had Daniel Garcia, he had Hideo Suzuki, who had like 90 technical, so it was really good. But obviously it was decided no longer the plan. Bryan Danielson just pretty much puts on good matches all the time. As you can see, he's pretty much carried the company. His physical stats are not the best. You can see there the head 42, body 67, so he's slowly winding down. But he's helped the company grow so much and we'll continue to utilise him until no longer. Bryce Remsburg, we know as a referee. Buddy Matthews, we brought him in as Matt Silver. It didn't work. When he's a member of the House of Black, I need to take him out of that. Obviously in alliance with Malachi Black. Malachi was a bit pissed off and let him go, knocked him out, and he's been reborn as Buddy Matthews under the tutelage of Tyler Black. Next up, Team Taz member Calvin Tankman. I honestly don't watch too much wrestling out of AEW or WWE, etc. Watched one MLW show, I think it was like a Battle Royal. I can't remember what it was actually called, and I was like, this guy looks like he's got something. Checked him out on this, signed him, developmental, brought him up, and he's been doing good stuff in Team Taz alongside Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, and every worker wants to put him over. I'll let you see the promises at the end of this, but wow. Candice LeRae's in here just basically as a player coach due to her age. Candy Rose, so again it was the idea of she's obviously going to have great sex appeal as someone who can help put people over. When I was really struggling about to name her, and unfortunately at the time I was playing GTA Vice City and Candy Sucks was on the television, so if you remember that particular mission on GTA, so hence Candy Rose was born. It all makes a little bit of sense. Cash Wheeler, former tag champ, absolutely solid. FTR, great hand. Both the inspiration are here, so I've got Cassie Lee, they're due a heel turn soon, her and Jason Mackay. Get Kathy Kelly in. I think she was maybe looking at one point to possibly be part of that Garza Jr. stable as well, but there's Charlie. The reason she was brought in is obviously there was that wee thing they were teasing in WWE, but she's never really gained any popularity so far with Garza, so we'll see how long it goes for. She's got a year in her contract. She's 60. Most of my deals are handshakes, apart from the ones we've had to actually be a challenge for, so they're not too much. Obviously Chavo Guerrero, manager of Andrade Alito. Julie the Melissa's in. She's again just a good hand to have, the psychology and good stats, so hopefully player coach. Chelsea Green does a job in here, former women's tag team champion alongside Deonna Purrazzo. Chilly momentum though, she's been putting people over. The champion Jericho. Obviously don't start with great overness in this. I was never going to push a 58-year-old man off the bat. So he's kind of like Edge in that way, where I'm hoping his promo skills can get him over. But you'll see here, the overness has never really been there, and obviously the company's now at a level where overness is at a much higher level when we first started. There's Christian, 69, he's been saved by Edge. Chris Daniels, occasional wrestler, but is going to retire shortly. I use best friends to put people over, so it's a shame on Chucky T. Claudio has come in, he had that run in that stable. I think he's capped at like 70 over though, so I couldn't push him further than that. Punk's had a great run, and he is going to be battling someone who was arrived also from WWE that they felt was going to take his spot, and that is Shinsuke Nakamura. Cody Rhodes, the first year of the mod was basically in a slump. As soon as we done the Owen, it was out of his slump, turned heel, and the popularity just skyrocketed. So you'll see here, you can see the exact moment we started doing the Owen at the start of the year, and he went for like a 60 over, struggling to even as high into the mid 80s, so he's done really well. Daniel Garcia, decent stuff so far, he's only 24, so still plenty of time. Dante Martin, he's actually been in TDF, the Dark Factory's recall development system, just playing away till I had room for him, so he's up alongside Darius. I think Darby's capped, but we'll try and push him through. A few people want him over, but still plenty of time for him. He's in feuds with Brock Lesnar, and he is going to enter a feud where he and Sting will take on Sami Zayn and Kevin Steen. We've got Daria Bernato. At the moment, she hasn't wrestled. She's still doing the gimmick with WWE where she's in a 40 figure, so I've just had her coming out learning from Mick Foley. Darius Martin, part of Top Flight. Dash Chizako, yet to debut. Dax Harwood, solid hand. Dean Malenko, a 40 figure, also inducted into their AEW Hall of Fame. Del Miexo, part of Sea Stars. Demi Bennett, Rhea Ripley. Probably underutilised her, I'm not going to lie, but she had a decent level of overness, but she was helping propel people to her level, and that chilling momentum probably should change at one point. Deonna Purrazzo, in from Impact. Solid hand as a former champion alongside Chelsea Green in the women's tag. Gallows and Anderson are both here, put people over, do their job solid and effectively. They're 39 and 43, so they are where they are. We've got Dragon Lee in. Just signed that Drew Galloway, hasn't debuted yet, but we'll see where we can put the sinister Scotsman. Eddie Kingston, I am really intrigued to see where to go with this character. This is the one who's going to be getting the big push. I know he's 40, but I don't want to push Eddie. So at the moment, he's a member of the boys from the NYC, so it's him, Santana and Ortiz, and he's got a bit friendly with John Moxley, and they're going to partake in a matchup at Blood and Guts, where it's going to be Santana, Ortiz, Moxley and Kingston taking on Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Prince Devitt and Bryan Danielson. The winning team gets all title shots, but the person who gets the winning fall will challenge for the championship. So I've got him portraying the Kingpin gimmick. He's basically Kingpin from Spider-Man, and let's see if he can make it work. So looking forward to Eddie Kingston. Emi Sakura is going to be retiring, which is a shame. All Ego Ethan Page, I don't really consistently give him and Scorpio Sky wins, so it's a shame because he's really good. Evelino, him and Stu are the two members of the Dark Order I've not got over. Excalibur and Comms. Slamita's done some... Well, sorry, he was going to be doing some good stuff in the Zero X division, but he is still suffering from that severe concussion. Gabriel Stevenson is up from developmental but hasn't wrestled for us yet. Garza Jr., as I say, has joined. I love how he's ended his engagement after we gave him the Ladies Man gimmick. He's working his way, including wins over Pentagon Jr. We've got Gazelle Shaw. Griff Garrison's just up from developmental. Haruka Yumasaki is yet to debut, or if she has, she's just kind of featured in a matchup. I don't know why she's getting over this in Scotland, but as it is, as I say, Suzuki, that 90 technical, even though he didn't have the overness and his age wasn't on his side, he was going to have bangers with most people. Karushida is now a heel in a tag team with Saru. She's a former champion, I believe, of the women's tag. No, they never won it. They were contending for it. I think I was going to put it on them, but I didn't. Io Shirai, let's be honest, she's absolutely incredible, so if she's available, you've got to sign her. Not done too much with Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, but plenty of time with Age on his side. Jade Cargill, starting to pick up some victories now. I was a bit hesitant to push her forward, like obviously she didn't win after winning in real life, but we're going to give her that opportunity now. She's ditched her former manager, Smart Mark Sterling, and she'll be under the tutelage of Stokely Hathaway. Her psychology is 65. If we check the skills on psychology, if it lets me, you can see they're 47 a year ago, 65, and that's purely because of the tutelage of her mentor, QT Marshall. So he's been a vital cog in the wheel without actually doing anything. Jake's just there, but he's in the Hall of Fame. James Mitchell will probably leave. He was brought in to be manager of Brian Cage, aka we call him Cajun. He was based on a Mortal Kombat character, which was a tribute I tried to do in game towards Canyon and the Mortis character, but it never really worked out, so Brian left. Jamie Hayter is a babyface. She had the split from her friend Britt Baker. Of course, I still have to take that out. But she's getting her skills up in the Nightmare Factory. She's a former TBS champion. She had that for 2 months, but she is well and truly over. So see how lazy I get with stables. I need to fix that, that's on me. Chili Fools, he signed in real life. I signed him. Not really done much. Same as real life then. Jeff Cobb is going to be challenging... Is it challenging for the TNT Championship? I might have him in for that, but as I say, got an appointment deal from New Japan, beat Brock Lesnar. We're full on in this push. But yeah, up to Jeff Cobb. In fact, yes, he is. He's going to be challenging TNT Championship. Miro, that's right, that's a feud I've been booking, because I cannot wait for that. 2.0 have done like a kind of alliance alongside Sami Zayn and Kevin Steen. Get Jerry Lynn, Jessamine Duke, part of the 4 Horsewomen. We've got Jess McKay, we mentioned. JR. Gigi is in, but I've not done anything for him. He's out of retirement, but just kind of waiting for the programme to open up before we bring him back. I say Johnny Hungy's done good stuff alongside Reynolds, both former tag team champions. Johnny Gargano, part of One Final Beat. They've done alright. They've had more bangers than actual wins, but just waiting for the perfect time to unleash him and Ciampa. Mox is always over. As I say, looking forward to this alliance again with him, Santana and Ortiz and Kingston. But yeah, good stuff. Can always rely on him for a decent matchup there. Was putting over Jungle Boy until Jungle Boy was capped, as you'll see. But yeah, there's some bangers. Jonah Rock is in. Looking forward to using him. We've got Jordan Grace, we've got Josh Alexander who's injured. Jungle Boy, I think, is capped at 73, so we started obviously just having him lose a couple. It's a frustrating one because he's 25. He could have easily been into the 90s. Protege of Bryan Danielson as well, so we've got that. So he's always going to be good. And it's going to be up to us to try and see if we can break that cap. Whether we can or not, I don't think we can. Jungle Kyona's in. She's been getting some victories to get her over. We've got Kaio Kobayashi. Kari Hojo out of retirement was a no-brainer because she is class. Same with Kana, bringing her in. Hopefully she doesn't retire too early because she is generally just really good. Kane is in as a road agent and that's it. I don't like him. Machine Gun we mentioned earlier. Kale Perez is going to be in as a manager. Just need to see who to pair her up with. I liked her stuff with Johnny Curtis and Derek Bateman. I liked her stuff with Katrina. So yeah, we'll see what we can do with Carl Lee. Kaylee Ray's just signed, literally a couple of days ago. Then we've got the Best Bout Machine, the cleaner Kenny Omega. Continuing on with that fallout with the Elite. We'll probably see Kenny turn babyface pretty shortly, but it is just a matter of when and when. You can see there, I gave him the belt. Well, he kept the belt right up to May 2022, but just wouldn't drop it basically. And I would say Kevin Steen is here. Killer Kelly's in. We've also got Killer Cross, who literally just joined it today, so we'll see if we can fit him in. Kimberly, who's injured. Kip Sabian back from developmental. Chris Statler up to 71. I think that's her cap, but she had a good feud with Becky Quinn. We've got Kyle O'Reilly. Cool Kyle there is another face of... Who's he hating? Oh, he hates Sammy Guevara because of the Britt Baker thing as well. Fair enough. Oh, because obviously friends with Adam Cole. Get Lana Austin. We're getting there. Get Lance Archer. I'll try and flick through these a wee bit quicker. Get Lance Storm as a road agent. Layla Hirsch is just back from developmental. Leo Rush, we get him for the lower card to get him over. Luchasaurus has done some decent work, so I've been happy with him. Get Madison Eagles, Maki Ito, Makoto. Malachi Black's been in some good feuds. We've also got Manami Toyota as a road agent. We've got Marina Shafir, Mark Henry, Mark Sterling, Mark Quinn. Mascara Dorado. Bryan Danielson said he wants to face him. You know what I did? Literally first match in. Where is it? There we go. AEW Dynamite. Bryan Danielson faced him. So he's had a couple of matches, a couple of defeats. And he also had a victory over Machine Gun. Matt Hardy, as we continually wait for Jeff, but just been cutting promos. Obviously, Matt Jackson, one half of the Elite. Matt Lee, one half of 2.0. Araldo's come in. He was actually managed by RVD for a small period of time before RVD's contract expired. Booking him as a heel, just having him beat the shit out of people. Head announcer Moro Ronaldo. Mi Surugia is in. It's a shame that Amy Sakurai is gone because, as I say, I like to have her. I think Lulu Pencil's in it, so I need to try and find her. Women's champion at the moment is Mercedes Varnado. WWE let her go, and I was like, what? Why? So I was like, obviously I'm going to sign her. Big matches she's lost to. She lost to Statlander, she's lost to Io Shirai, but she did win the 30-minute women's Ironman match, so well, that's quite mental actually. She's been quite limited in what she's worked so far, but she's been They've all been big matches. A defeat to Thunder Rosa, a win over Thunder Rosa, a win in the world title match in the Iron Women, and then defeats since. So we need to get some wins for Mercedes. Matchmaker, as always go with Mick Foley. Always going to have good talking stats, and Mick Foley's the man. That's it, Mick Foley's just the man. Minoru Suzuki is in, just to have some really kick-ass matches. Miro, obviously our TNT champion. MJF doing some big things, is going to be battling for the World Championship against the Hangman Adam Page. Looking forward to booking MJF going forward. There's big plans involved with him. Michael Nakazawa's kicking about, MVP, manager of Injustice. We've got Myron Reed, one half of Injustice, although he is going to be touring with his band shortly, so that is just going to be probably MVP taking a break. And I think Jordan Oliver's already went back to developmental. Get Natty, well, she's more a road agent now because she retired quickly. Nick Jackson, Nicole Matthews, solid hand. Orange Cassidy, I've never pulled the trigger. Poor for me. Ortiz, obviously one half of Pride and Powerful. Pac, former Zero X champion, he's going to get the push. He's too high for that division. Going to try and head him towards the main event. Pat McAfee, and as a commentator, but we could use him as an occasional worker. Paul Turner referee, Paul White backstage. I actually put over MGF to start with. That's how low the overness is. But I did actually start with MGF versus Paul White just to get him over back in late 2021 when we first started the save. So that gives you an idea of the change in popularity over time. Still got Penelope Ford, still got Penta Zero, who's obviously on his own because of Phoenix's injury. Pete Dunne kicking about. Portia Perez, Powerhouse Hobbs, you can see there, 60 over, pretty decent. Prince Devitt has just arrived. We've got Raquel. Not done too much with her. Razar, Renee Michelle, Ray Phoenix, obviously bad injury, which is a shame because he's class. Richard Holiday, Rick Knox, Ricky Starks. You can see there with that overness, he's slowly getting there, and may see him head towards the world title in 2024. Get Ricochet as your Zero X champion. Get Riho, Rina Yamashita, Roddy Strong, Ronda Rousey, Rosemary, Ruby Soho, Roosh, Sami Zayn, with an E. He's done okay stuff. I want to push him further on. He's actually, him and Kevin Steen have probably been their own downfall of being too kind to put people over. That bastard Sammy Guevara, obviously as I say with Britt Baker now. Sanako Horichi is basically someone from our Ice Ribbon Dojo. It's a newly generated worker. Aerial and flashiness were the reasons why she's on the main roster at the moment. Santana, Sarah Stocks, City has just arrived yet to debut. We've got Scarlett, who's signed, not done anything yet. Was going to put Raquel across and then realised they have broke up, so might be a bit awkward. Scorpio Sky, Serena Deep, former TBS champion. She's been just a fantastic hand. I've got Session Moth Martina. I've got Shane Strickland in the house. I've got Sean Bennett. Talk Shawn Michaels out of retirement. NXT let him go. I'm like, alright, I'll just sign HBK then. Completely thrown overness, realisticness out the window, but his psychology, and I've just had some dream matches. I've got him up to 86 over. He is annoyed because he created a few injuries because obviously he's not quite the worker he used to be, but still mad that I was able to book. Oh, he's still doing WWE NXT UK, which I find hilarious, but it was just the fact that I had Shawn Michaels versus Kenny Omega at the free-for-all, and he also faced Hideo Suzuki. So you got Shawn Michaels CM Punk, Shawn Michaels Jeff Parker. Just crazy big stuff like that. Shayna's going to be retiring shortly. Shinsuke's just in the house. He's going to be facing CM Punk. We've got Shotzi Blackheart. We've got Sting. Stokely's in. We've got Stu Grayson. The Super Dragon. I think he'll be leaving shortly. Saru. Someone I didn't really know too much about because obviously I don't really have a non-mainstream knowledge. But it was nice to find out she was a partner of Hikaru Shida, and I've utilised that in this save. Ty Conti, she saved back from her pregnancy, and the AEW Women's World Tag Team Champion. Brought in Taylor Wilde to just do some jobbing basically. We've got Taz, Tino Dashwood, same idea. Tessa Blanchard's just really kicking about. If you sign BB Ford, you got to have Tez Ford, so he's just kicking about. Get the Blade, the Bunny, the Butcher doing their thing. Your former TBS champion and women's champion, she's had all the gold here, has Thunder Rosa. Utilised her pretty well so far. Tommaso Ciampa, as we previously mentioned. Your present TBS champion, Toni Storm, not getting pie put in her face. User character, Tony Khan, Tony Schiavone, Trent's kicking about. Trevor Lee in his partnership alongside Matt Hardy. And the rest of them, as you'll see, are Tezuka Fujimoto, Tajuki. I'm terrible for pronouncing names, but basically if they're right ribbon we can bring them in, because that's the developmental. Got Tully, got Tyler Black, as I say, he's got his Eddie's faction, Vicky Guerrero, Wardlow, to 73 over, Wheeler Yuta, who had a really good time in developmental, hence his overness is at 55, Wyndham, Yuka Sakazaki, and we finish it off with Zack Sabre Jr. And that's not including everyone that's in developmental, so I'll just make sure that's, oh, that was just the males, so there's going to be a lot here. So if there's people you don't recognise, they are probably new gens, because a lot have been signed to see how they develop. So I'll probably skip over the ones, but you got AJ Gray, we've got Akaria, A-Kid, Alex Garcia, Alexia Nicole, Alice Crowley, Alicia Tout, Amber Nova, Andras Miyagi, Diamante, Anthony Bowens, Anthony Ogogo, Vinny, Austin Gunn, Shibiel, Ava Everett, Avari, Avery Taylor, JC Jean is in the house. It's New Gen, Barbario, Cavanaro, both of Bear Country. We've also got Ben Carter, Billy Stark's in there, Bobby Taylor, Brandon Cutler, Brock Anderson, Brody Lee Jr. as part of the mod. Had to say Bronson Steiner, don't I? Braun Breaker is in the house. Brent Alvarez, there he is. We do still have him, he's just in developmental. Cesar Bononi, got Shikara, Charlie Evans. Let's see, I'm just trying to think of bigger names, so we'll go there. You get like the Colton Gunn, the Danielle Camila, she was under Vanessa Bourne, Debbie Kettle, Dustin's down to do some coaching, Frankie's down to do some coaching. Emos the Top Sheet is an interesting one. He's obviously not got the greatest overness, but I used to use him in EWR back in the day a lot. Pushed him to the moon, so when I saw he was in the game, I was like, yeah, let's get him in. Fuego, we've got him. There was a real temptation, and it's not quite the time, but eventually we will send Hook. I just want to get your stats up a wee bit before we officially send Hook. Plenty of time. Eli Dragunov's down here, Andy Hartwell, Jack Evans doing some kind of coaching, as is James Gibson out of retirement. You can see there we've got the former Aaliyah and Jasmine Aribi. We've got Jessica Troy down here, Jordan Oliver, Julia Hart, Camille's down here, Kayla Braxton, Kenzie Page, Kiera Hogan, Lee Johnson's down here with Kylan King, Kota Umida's down here as well. There are people that we've maybe heard of, like some Madison Miles, Maddie Rinkowski, Marco Stunt's kicking about. Matt Seidel is down as a coach as well, he's at knee ligament damage. Max Caster, really just waiting on him and Bones to go over, so they asked for a call up and then we'll fit them in, because everybody loves the Acclaimed. Speedball Mike Bailey's in here as well. We've got Noam Dar, Nick Comoroto, Parker Bordeaux. I won't shave his head and call him Harland. QT is down because I felt like the two ladies, Anna J and Jade Cargill, had developed well enough. Red Velvet, Quinn Mackay. It is a new gen Rey Mysterio, and I thought I've never really utilised this before, but we'll sign him and we'll see how it goes. So it's another guy with a Rey Mysterio mask. Whether we'll see how good he goes. I need to get into the future, like 2027, 28, to see how it's going to work out. Then you get like so Rin Kadokura, Rina, Roxy, Ryan Nemeth, Selena De La Renta, Sarah Rowe, the captain, Sean Dean, Steph Delanda, Sonic Kiss, Sky Blue in there as well, Tyler Bate, just to get somewhere to put him in, although with Pete Dunne kicking about. That may be an option. Then like the Valkyrie, Vipress, Zaya, Brookside. So I'm There's a lot of young women wrestlers here, but I feel like if we can get them into developmental and develop their stats quick enough, then we can have a stacked women's roster in the future and push towards. I want a 100 rating men's match, I want a 100 rated women's match eventually at one point. I know I could just go to Amwad for the previous bygone errors, but I feel like we can possibly do it there. So, two more things we'll cover is just obviously champions and the promises. Historically, that'll be our video. This needs nearly going 40 minutes. So you can see there, Calvin Tankman has offers from Kevin Steen, Sami Zayn and AJ Styles to put him over. Christian is happy to put over Daniel Garcia. And we also have Mercedes happy to put over Daria Bernato. The last one I got was Kenny Omega happy to put over Darby Allin. 3 matches over the next 5 months. So yeah, looking forward to that one. So we finish up with the champions. So your TBS champion is Tony Storm. TNT champion for the second time is Miro. Your women's world champion is Mercedes Varnado. Your women's world tag team champions are Tay Conti and Anna Jay. Also, the TBS championship is more prestigious than the women's, so I need to try and get some prestige to this belt. World champion is the Hangman. Generally only have went Jericho, Moxley, Omega and Hangman. Just the way it is, but he's in the belt for just under a year. World tag champs are Ace and Christian Cage. Your 0x champion is Ricochet. I've yet to have a Brody Lee Memorial Cup, which is going to be trios. I felt like it would be, I know they had the 4 obviously when Braun Strowman joined, but tribute to him basically being a part of the Wyatt family when it was predominantly for the most part him, Bray Wyatt and Eric Rowan. So that was my reason for making a trios championship, but that will happen eventually, I just don't know when. And the Owen, Adam Cole won it. To give you an idea what the Owen was, if I find tournaments, 10-man championships with Adam Cole, Cody Rhodes, Rush, Leo Rush, Malachi Black, Jungle Boy, Jay Lethal, Claudio, Roderick Strong, Sammy Guevara, and it was Cole picking up that victory over Cody to win it, and then with the inaugural Women's Championship, which went to Jade Cargill and Raquel, which was quite fun to book that, so with a lot of women in for that. So that's part 1, hope you enjoyed it. As I say, we'll have probably Blood and Guts up as our next video, and then next week we will have a history lesson in history and a few other things of investments and the sort. So thanks for watching, we enjoyed what you saw, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.